every single deck. That's why you saw Pokemon Catcher in almost every deck for a long time. And so even if it is a little unorthodox, it's one way that you can pull up that Pokemon that you need to target down. And so here on the other side, we see more setup from Israel. Looks like Ultra Ball coming down. He's got Lapras down. He also has the Aqua Tube up and running with Manaphy, so he can retreat with water energies for completely free. And he can start sliding in, attacking with Lapras, and dropping immediate pressure. Turn 2, Lapras swinging at full force is extremely intimidating.
Yeah, just looking at this, I think Ahmed's going to have a very, very difficult time in this matchup. Lapras GX matches up very well against Zygarde EX. The Blizzard Burn attack hits for 160 damage, and when you throw a Choice Band onto Lapras GX, that goes up to 190, which is exactly enough to knock out Zygarde EX.
Aqua Tube giving Lele the ability to retreat for free, and now we have Lapras attacking 3 energy, Blizzard Burn, blasting away the opposition for 160 damage. Extreme over damage, but enough to take a knockout and start in this commanding position.
Put this in perspective. That is Israel's second turn. He has 5 energy cards on the board. Double Aqua Patch, he hit a max elixir, 2 energy attachments. Typically, you can only attach 1 energy per turn, and he has 5 on board on the second turn.
Yeah, it's pretty terrifying to deal with when your opponent can play all these item cards, accelerate all these energies. Previously, decks just had access to Elixir, and that was pretty scary on its own if opponent hit a bunch of them. Now they have so much that they can deal with. It does get a little weird because you play so many items against Garbodor, but he's not playing against a Garbodor right now.
Yeah, Ahmed's in just a terrible position.
Floatstone down on Rockruff, retreating to Zorua and passing. It's going to be almost impossible to come back from such a crazy start here.
Yeah, he just missed his energy attachment on the previous turn. His deck already doesn't seem to match up very well. We're going to see Lysander. The Rockruff's going to go down. I think he was setting up for the GX attack on Lycanroc GX, but everything is going Israel Sosa's way this game.
So here we see a retreat to the Tapu Lele. There's an attack, and Rockruff goes down. 2 very quick prizes for Sosa. Ahmed just completely on back foot. Has a Zoroark down. It's going to really struggle to even find the double colorless energy to power it up.
Yep. There's only 1 in his deck.
Here's the deck search. There's the 1 right there at the top. He's maybe thumbing through. I wonder if Ahmed's going to realize this tragedy that has befallen on him.
Yeah, I think Ahmed's deck is very well designed for most of the field. Zoroark very strong against Trashalanche deck, Zygarde and Lycanroc very good against a lot of the Drampa GX and other Zoroark decks. Just has a lot of options to deal with most of the expected decks in the metagame. Unfortunately, he's going up against a deck that nobody really expected to play against this weekend, the Lapras GX deck.
Yeah, that's like, I guess people are still calling it Water Box, these Water Toolbox decks. They've been around, but no one's really expected it. Like, oh, this is a deck that's really going to do it. And here we see another energy on Lapras, another attack, easy knockout, 3 down. Sosa's just speeding his way to the victory. Look at all that energy. Even if you deal with 1 Lapras, there's another one ready to go. There's Tapu Lele ready to go. I don't think there's anything in Ahmed's deck that can deal with all of this at once. He can't even really grab a 1-hit knockout on the Lapras.
Yeah, he's in a terrible position. There's just too much energy on Israel's board. And if I'm in Ahmed's situation, I might consider just conceding this game. There's just no real chance of a comeback here. I mean, there's maybe a very small chance he could come back, but I'm just not seeing it. Israel has so many energy on board. It's going to take Ahmed multiple turns to even muster up any kind of threat.
Yep, there he goes. He didn't even get a single energy off of that Lysander.
Well, yeah, 4 of them were prized.
Of course. Yeah, let's see. Maybe he'll flip them over and just some players will be like, hey, look what was prized. This really hurt. But Ahmed just, looking at them himself, just hoping he can recoup from that. You probably won't get prizes that bad in any other game. But like you mentioned, even with all the energy, the matchup does seem pretty skewed. It's very hard to deal with giant hit point Pokemon when you don't have that weakness that you're planning for with fighting.
Yeah, I mean, Ahmed had 3 double colorless energy prized and a strong energy on top of it. So just 4 of his energy cards were just unavailable to him for the entire game, and it's already probably a bad matchup. And Israel played 2 Aqua Patch on the first turn of the game, and he attacked from every turn 2 on.
It was like true perfection. Like what you, the Ultra Ball for the 2 water energy, the double patch. It's just as clean as can be. But that's why some players play decks like this, is for the opportunity to go off, as we say. You could just completely go crazy with your deck, get a million energy on your board, and run your opponent over in that first turn. Does it always happen? No, but when it does, it gives you a huge chance to just steal games that might have been close otherwise. Here, it was just a steamroll.
Yeah, and we talked about how a lot of these turbo decks have kind of fallen out of favor because of the Trashalanche deck. You don't want to play a bunch of item cards because you get punished pretty hard by Trashalanche doing 20 for each item card in your discard pile. But it's still a viable option to play this style of deck. You can still play Aqua Patch and Max Elixir and all these item cards to get these strategies set up as quickly as possible. You just have to take a different strategy and be a little slower against those Garbodor decks. But against everything else, the floodgates are open. Do whatever you want. Try to attack as quickly as possible.
This is one of those decks that I feel like I call it like a second level deck. Like on the first level, you want a deck that can beat Trashalanche. But then on the second level, you have decks that can beat those first level decks that are trying to counter the most popular deck. Maybe it's not as good against Garbodor, but it's really good against some of the other decks out there.
So here we go, game number 2 in round number 2 here at the North American International Championships. Get on social media, use the hashtag #PlayPokemon. Tell us who you think is going to win. Will it be the Israel Sosa Lapras GX crazy water toolbox deck, or will it be this even weirder Lycanroc Zygarde Zoroark concoction from Ahmed? Can he make the comeback?
I just want to see Ahmed get an attack this game. That would be really nice to see. Just those poor Rockruffs, they didn't have a chance. We see Ultra Ball coming down. I was thinking, well, there is, after seeing how scary your opponent's setup is, there's always the possibility that they just attack in one turn. So you want to get one more basic down. You have to throw 2 Zoroark to do it, which is kind of unfortunate, though.
Yeah, especially in Israel's deck where, he plays Max Elixir and things like that. He could easily power up a turn 1 attacker. It would not be unreasonable.
So shuffling up off of the Ultra Ball. He does have the strong energy on Rockruff, so he can follow it up next turn. And we're back over to Israel. Rough Seas coming down to the stadium. Energy on Lapras. Oranguru down.
And he's going to collect.
Yeah, just draw 3 cards. The other nice thing about Lapras is it has attacks that are great at all stages of the game, very similar to the Drampa that we've seen earlier. Sycamore over here on Ahmed's side, drawing 7 new cards, hoping to get more energy and more setup.
Yeah, he had a strong energy in hand and decided not to play it because he wanted to get a little greedy and, go for a double colorless energy and try to do some damage this turn. Looks like it backfired. He did not draw any energy off of that Professor Sycamore, but he does have a Shaman EX in hand he could play to draw some additional cards.
So we see the Rescue Stretcher. He's just shuffling the 2 Zoroark that he discarded earlier from the Ultra Ball back into the deck. I think, just with the way he's playing, he's trying to burn down his hand of as many cards as possible so that he can use Shaman and then draw the double colorless energy. I also wasn't even sure if he was able to get the evolution as well, so he's just trying to dig for anything he can get. Here we see, the Mewtwo. Yes, Lycanroc, no energy.
Yeah, and then the question becomes, do you evolve into Lycanroc GX here and use the ability to bring out Oranguru? If you don't evolve, your Rockruff is in some real danger. If you do, you're kind of wasting the ability a little bit. You're not getting really what you want out of it. Yes. But looks like he will evolve, use the Bloodthirsty Eyes ability, and looks like he's just going to stand in and pass, and Israel, he kind of got a turn of relief there. Not a whole lot happened.
Yeah, you really can't complain. You kind of expect an attack at this point in the game. And here we see one of the huge benefits of Manaphy. Look at that. Aqua Tube gives that Oranguru free retreat. Lapras back up. Did he just call collect once again?
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Fill up the hand, why not? And I think there was a Hex Maniac as well.
Yes, he did play Hex Maniac, so no abilities from Ahmed in this turn. There aren't really any relevant ones he would use this turn, but I think Israel didn't have any better supporter to play. So sometimes you just play Hex Maniac to get it in your discard pile so you can play Versus Seeker and get it back at a more relevant time.
So Ahmed right away playing an N, hoping to find an energy. That has been a common thread throughout. He doesn't run a ton, but constantly missing them can really hurt you. He's seeing a much less aggressive start from Israel, though. Just collecting. It's a viable strategy, but it isn't as explosive as we've seen when you get all the patches down.
Yeah, and you can see how...
again.
You
just passing.
Yeah, you can see how Israel's deck can kind of change gears, too. If he's playing against a Trashlands deck, he won't play all those Aqua Patch and all those other things. He's just going to use Collect and set up that way and slowly build up energy instead.
And when your opponent hasn't attacked, like, this is Ahmed's time to be aggressive. He should be the aggressor and start dealing damage while he can, while his opponent isn't set up. Instead, Israel just able to play really conservatively, get an energy on the Glaceon too, why not? Be able to counter some of the evolutions that Ahmed works with. In fact, all of his main attackers besides Zygarde are evolutions.
Yeah, his entire deck pretty much. And that Crystal Ray attack can really throw a wrench in the plans of any deck that's trying to use evolution Pokemon.
Here come the patches. Here comes an elixir. Is this one going to provide another energy? Looks like the elixir misses. I don't know if there's still a water in the discard pile, but there is another patch in Israel's hand.
Yeah, he did discard a water energy.
Here we go, patching it up. And so right away, he can start Crystal Raying out of nowhere. And wow, what does Ahmed even do against Crystal Ray? You can just hope to Lysander around it. He wasn't able to apply any pressure when it really mattered the most. He does have, I guess, the Lycan Rock. Whenever he activates the ability, he can move around it in that way. But long term, you're going to want some way to deal with the Glaceon. And you don't really have one, I guess, outside of the Lele, which you just dropped down.
Yeah, Tapu Lele GX is your main method of dealing with Glaceon EX. You can Energy Drive. It won't be a one-hit knockout, but you attach a double colorless energy, it does 100. Even if he heals with Rough Seas, he goes down to 70 damage, which again, another 100 damage attack is a knockout. So it's not a perfect solution, but it's better than straight up losing to it.
Yeah, it's frustrating because you have the free retreat with Aqua Tube. Even if you go up and start to apply pressure on the Glaceon, then it just gets free retreat with the Aqua Tube. They hit you with something else, continually heal with Rough Seas. So if you don't have a way to deal with it in one turn, it can last for a while.
Yeah, and what probably will end up happening is if Ahmed uses Energy Drive for 100, if Israel can power up Lapras GX and get a Choice Band onto it, he can just Blizzard Burn for a knockout, and then Ahmed's going to have to find, another Tapu Lele GX, and then another double colorless energy, and it just becomes very frustrating to play against.
So we see yet another N on Ahmed's side, shuffling and drawing 6, still looking for energy. Will he find an energy? I see a strong and a double, so he finally has something to work with. The question is, who do you put it on, and who do you attack with? Here we see, we've been talking, it's the Lele. Attack with Drive, and just get the 100 down, hope that it can stick, and hope that your opponent can't power Lapras on this turn.
Yeah, Israel doesn't need a whole lot to pull off this attack. He will need a Choice Band, though, which is probably the more difficult thing to find. Just an Aqua Patch, a Max Elixir, an Energy Switch, anything can get that third energy onto the Lapras GX this turn. But the Choice Band will be the big thing, otherwise he won't be able to hit for a one-hit knockout.
Versus Seeker for Lysander, discarding a ton of water energy, all things that the patch will drop in. There's the water patch. Does he have the way for extra damage, though? Did you see a Choice Band in there?
I do.
Oh, man, another patch. Here we go, Patch City. The gates have opened.
Yeah, we even see the League promo Aqua Patch given out at League Cups, I believe. And there we go.
Boom.
Blizzard Burn. Goodbye, Tapu Lele GX. And now Ahmed is left yet again in an awkward position.
It's like, what do? You can't... maybe you can try and follow up on this Glaceon now that it hasn't attacked, but if you're not securing a knockout, then it can come back and bite you later because it can continually heal. You now also have the Lapras that you immediately have to deal with, which can get easy knockouts on you. It's just a really unfortunate board state. This deck, once it powers up, it's very hard to deal with if you can't knock it back out with one hit.
Yeah, and Ahmed's going to be in a weird spot. His hand isn't great. He can Wonder Tag for teammates and grab 2 cards, but that means that Glaceon EX is safe, and it'll give one more turn to get healed by that Rough Sea Stadium card, which will put it out of range for Tapu Lele GX to knock it out. So far, everything is coming up Israel. He's just got another great start. And again, a rough matchup for Ahmed. Not a deck he's probably prepared for. And it's just looking ugly.
And really just sort of a desperation attack. What else can you do? Bringing up Lycanroc. Oh, it does have 2 energy attached, so we could see the GX. There would be a knockout, I believe.
Yeah, Dangerous Rogue
50
GX.
times bench Pokemon. It's like a Super Zoroark.
That's a 240 damage GX attack, and just like that, Ahmed has kind of turned the tides a little bit. He's at least taken a threat off the board and taken some prize cards.
It's a good start. At this point, you're sort of hoping, okay, my opponent can't power another Lapras, right? I hope. You can't, unfortunately, follow up a Dangerous Rogue with another Dangerous Rogue, so you've sort of used your one big surprise GX, but that was probably a good time to use it and on a good Pokemon.
Yeah, at this point, I wonder if Israel will be content to keep using Crystal Ray. He won't get an immediate knockout. I don't think he can even get a knockout either way. 200 HP on Lycanroc GX is not an easily obtainable number for Lapras GX unless you have Professor Kukui and Choice Band. Looks like he's going to play an N, so that's not an option, and he'll have to settle for Crystal Ray. So Ahmed is still not out of the game. He has plenty of targets on the bench he could go after to go around Glaceon EX.
Manaphy's looking pretty ripe. Just extremely low HP EX Pokemon.
Yeah, I can see him getting 2 more prize cards, but the last 2 are going to be very difficult and, well, still more Aqua Patches.
More patches, more energy, and the very safe Crystal Ray, keeping Glaceon safe from evolution Pokemon.
Yeah, and the Choice Band going to make the math very good. Going to make it so he hits for 100 instead of 70, which is a 2-hit knockout on Lycanroc GX. So Glaceon EX, not a card we see very often. Actually Ahmed's going to be able to turn this around with his own Choice Band on Tapu Lele GX. Maybe he can pull this game off still.
Yeah, I believe that should be able to secure a knockout, bring him down to 2 prize cards, and then Manaphy is sitting there as your final one.
Yeah, so you can see how this game is mapped out at this point. Just a matter of whether or not Ahmed can pull it off, and if Israel can respond with a knockout on his turn. He's going to need another Choice Band to knock out Tapu Lele GX. He's already gone through 2 Choice Bands at this point. Has Ahmed figured out a way to pull this game off?
We see Special Charge shuffling in. Fun thing about Special Charge, you almost always only see it shuffling double colorless energy back into the deck. Here he has the option to shuffle Strong in as well. One thing that's going to bite here is, he does have the Float Stone here on the bench Zoroark.
Yep.
So he can jump in with the ability, retreat for free, and he gets to preserve those energies on the Lycanroc GX. And here we go, Tapu Lele. The math is good, the band helps. Should be able to secure a knockout and bring him down to 2 prizes.
Sure looks like it. I think Ahmed would love to get another Rockruff down on the board if he had a bench space. Unfortunately, his bench is full right now. If he could get Rockruff down, he would be able to set up for 1 more Lycanroc GX on the following turn and get the Bloodthirsty Eyes and knock out Manaphy EX. But unless he has a Skyfield, I don't think he's going to be able to get the Rockruff down.
No, yeah, he'll have to rely on the old-fashioned way of getting a bench knockout with Lysander. But still, the fact that he's been able to all of a sudden come down to 2 back-to-back EX, GX knockouts is huge. Field Blower going to drop off of Lycanroc.
Yep, he's going to get rid of that Choice Band and also the Float Stone on Zoroark on the bench. Unfortunately, Israel doesn't have a lot of stuff to work with. I mean, he has a supporter he can play. He could go for an N this turn if he wants to. But he doesn't have the cards he needs just yet. He needs a Choice Band. He needs an energy to knock out this Tapu Lele GX. If he doesn't find both of them, he might be in a difficult situation.
He's going to have 4 cards, a chance to do it. On Ahmed's side, I'm sure he's looking for just an energy and a Lysander. And that would allow him to make this pretty incredible comeback. Really exciting to see the GX attacks used in many different ways. Dangerous Rogue was not a GX attack that many people were expecting to see at this level. But I heard a lot of players who were considering it. You know, a lot of these Pokemon are viable. They do a lot of exciting things.
So it looks like Israel does have the Choice Band in hand. He's going to Ultra Ball, and we have a big Instruct on the way. 3 cards. Does he find a way to get a Water Energy?
Oranguru pulling. Oh, yeah, there it is. So, retreating. Here comes the pressure. A knockout for Lapras, and why not? Playing another Elixir, another fail. His deck is extremely thin, so that he might be using all the energy he has in his deck, or most of them anyway. But they've been put to good use. So here, Oricorio up in the active spot. It's got flow stones. It's going to be an easy retreat. Is there Lysander plus an energy? I see Versus Seeker.
Uh-oh.
Has a Lysander been played or discarded?
Looks like nobody's eyeing up Professor
so.
Kukui. So the Claw Slash does 110, right now 150 if he has the 2 strong
he could
energy.
get the 3rd strong energy.
Yeah, if he gets a 3rd one, he also needs a Choice Band because Lapras has 190. But with Kukui, he could get there.
Let's see, 110, 130 with strong energy 1, 150 with strong energy 2, 170 with Kukui damage.
Well, here we go.
There we go.
Will he grab Professor Kukui or go for another option? He does have teammates in his discard pile. If he grabs strong energy and a choice band, I think that's enough. But he might be out of choice bands at this point. There's 1 on the Zoroark, 2 got discarded already. He might realize there's none left. And yeah, just going to go for the N instead of gambling on the Professor Kukui play.
Yeah, probably this is a pretty safe play. You're just banking on the fact that your opponent doesn't find something like Lysander. You can leave Oricorio up. As long as you're not giving up 2 prize knockouts with one of your GX or EX Pokemon, you survive an additional turn. But it is dangerous. You could just open yourself up to an instant loss. So here we see. Replacement on the rough seas probably doesn't really matter.
It's fairly dangerous because Israel has the Instruct ability available to him.
There's Versus Seeker right in his hand.
Yeah, he did use Blizzard Burn, so he cannot attack with his active Lapras GX. And now we're going to have to see a decision be made. He has Ultra Ball. He could go down to 0 cards and then Instruct and hope to draw the 3 cards he needs. He could Versus Seeker and play Lysander this turn and hope he draws some way. I don't even think he can really draw off of 1 card.
I just realized, I don't even know if he has the follow-up play. I don't know how many Elixir and Patch have he played. He's run through so many energy and so many resources. I don't know if he can get another Lapras down ready to attack. I don't know if he runs Energy Switch either. We don't have the exact deck lists. It'll be interesting to see. He could almost draw the rest of his deck. I mean, he could potentially draw the rest of his deck if he wants to combine it with the Sycamore, and here we go.
Yeah, the problem is he can only knock out this Oricorio. It's only 1 prize card, so it won't be enough to get him to a game-winning knockout.
He does run the switch, by the way. He's got plenty. So he could just switch over, grab the 1 knockout, or sort of play patiently and just wait for the opportunity to grab the 2 prize knockout off of a Lysander. But here we go. Yet another attachment here off of the Elixir. Something
I want to note, a lot of players have started to remove Shaman EX from their decks now that Tapu Lele GX is in the format. And, that kind of a situation was where Shaman EX would have been huge. Ultra Ball, draw 6 cards, maybe get you the energy and the Lysander to win, but he was unable to do that because he doesn't play Shaman EX, it looks like.
So here we see Sycamore, so that's going to remove the Lysander option that Ahmed has. However, if he can evolve, get a Bloodthirsty Eyes, and attach an energy, he can clear this game. Let's see what he gets. I see the energy. Attaches the strong. Bloodthirsty Eyes. Pulling up Manaphy. Game 2 is over, and we're going to Game 3.
I can say I did not expect that to happen, but the GX attack completely changed the tide in that game. Dangerous Rogue GX, allowing Ahmed to pull the comeback there.
Yeah, the way his Pokemon was on the bench, I totally forgot that there was still a strong energy holding onto that Rockruff from the very beginning of the game. So when he was able to slap down the second, I realized, wait, he actually has a knockout. And turns out 1 knockout is all he needed. Just needed 3 GX knockouts, EX knockouts to grab himself 6 prizes. It worked. What a comeback.
Yeah, and that kind of showed off one of the weaknesses of trying to go with Glaceon EX. A lot of the time, it ends up being kind of a trap to use that style of effect. We see that with Glaceon EX and also Jolteon EX sometimes. It feels like, I block my opponent's evolutions from doing damage to me. How can I possibly lose now? But you don't really put enough pressure on your opponent to win the game fast enough. And then they just kind of go around Glaceon EX, and it really gives them more of an opportunity to win versus if you had just attacked with Lapras GX the entire game.
Yeah, it's sort of weird. Like, you aren't really applying a ton of pressure either. The attack doesn't hit for a ton of damage, and then your opponent can sort of just hit around it. And he also, the specific deck that Ahmed's running, you can just Bloodthirsty Eyes around it, so you have even more options than the usual deck would to just move around if you absolutely have to. The change of the format is really noticeable with Tapu Lele.
Yep.
counters things that normally would have been a huge problem for you. Functions off of double colorless energy, which almost every competitive deck is running, and really just is such a good card. One of the most consistent, best cards in the game.
Yeah, but we do have game number 3 starting up here in round 2 at the North American International Championships between Israel Sosa and Ahmed Ali. We'll see. Oh, Glaceon EX is prized for this game. Oranguru for Ahmed. Nothing too big there, but we'll see if Israel can win game number 3 or if Ahmed can use his crazy Lycanroc concoction to take down this series.
The last game was really weird. We saw both players get a bit of a slower start. Lots of collects over on Israel's side, lots of passes over on Ahmed's side. I think a big determiner for this matchup will be how fast can each player set up. Can someone get a turn 2 attack? I think would be very relevant.
Yes, starting off with an Aqua Patch, not a bad way to start.
Yeah, Sycamore discarding. Was he able to get a water down from that?
Yeah, well, he got a max
regardless,
elixir.
Yeah, got an elixir, and it's, oh, last card. Fueling it up. Here come the floodgates.
And bad news for Ahmed. I think there's another max elixir on the well, maybe not. Just a water energy, but still, at the end of your first turn, you have 3 water energy on board.
That's never thrilling to see. Last game, Ahmed was probably pretty content with, oh, a collect? Oh, another collect? I've got a little bit of time. Here now, you sort of have to respond immediately, get some basic Pokemon down, hope that your opponent doesn't have access to Lysander, and that this Oricorio can maybe hold a knockout while you set up. He's very quickly going to have to get some benched Pokemon down, start setting up any kind of attacker.
Yeah, Ahmed's just going to need to get some energy attachments down. His Lycanroc GX is very strong, but it needs multiple turns to power up. What we saw happen in the first game is he just missed an energy attachment. Then the Rockruff got knocked out when it had the 1 energy on it, and he just couldn't ever get any momentum going. The Zoroark is almost useless in this matchup. There just aren't enough benched Pokemon to really use Mind Jack. So you need those big Lycanroc GX to get the big knockout, swing for big damage. But when they get knocked out before you can evolve them or get enough energy on them, that's where Israel's deck really shines.
Yeah, I'm surprised he actually opts to drop the Zora down as his basic instead of a Rockruff. There we see double colorless attachment down on Zorua, so we'll be able to attack on this next turn. But Israel, once you have a Zorua down, your opponent can sort of play around it. They realize, like, oh, okay, I won't make this giant bench that I normally would against other types of decks. That said, you do want to add Manaphy down. Aqua Tube is just too good of an ability. That free retreat is huge. These Lampers are normally pretty immobile, not easy to retreat between them if you have to pay that retreat cost. But when the cost is 0, it's fantastic, and it allows you to swap from one to another when one has lost the ability to attack. Here we go, Energy Switch, moving up to the active, another Sycamore. So lots of cards in the discard pile, but lots more cards coming into Israel's hand.
I do think we saw a slight misstep from Israel. The way he played the Ultra Ball, he discarded a Choice Band, and then he ended up playing Sycamore and discarding a card he couldn't really play. So he could have had a Choice Band on the board, but instead accidentally discarded it with the Ultra Ball, and we'll see if that affects how this game plays out at all.
Yeah, another Elixir missing. I'm sure he's trying as quickly as possible to get as many knockouts as he can, trying to rush for time. There we saw opting to use the GX attack. That way he can follow up next turn with Blizzard Burn.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that. Usually we see Ice Beam GX saved for a crucial moment because it automatically paralyzes your opponent's Pokemon. But it's not very effective against Zoroark with the stand-in ability. Zoroark doesn't really care about paralysis when you can just stand in and get rid of that special condition. So Israel's saying, I just want to use it right now to make sure I can Blizzard Burn on the next turn. It's very interesting to see how using a GX attack can be different based on the matchup.
So we see Zoroark up in the active, and there we go. A couple of Rockruffs down, attachments to Rockruffs. I was going to say, if Ahmed doesn't get a replacement basic Pokemon off of the Sycamore, he's going to be in a horrible spot. But here he can sort of get some chip damage, draw some cards, and hopefully set up Lycanroc coming up in the following turn. Here we're going to see a pretty okay Mind Jack, thanks to the Choice Band, hitting for 100 damage.
Yeah, it's not too bad. At least sets up for a knockout, even if Israel didn't bench any extra Pokemon.
But it does actually opt to...
Yeah, it could have set up for, the dangerous Rogue GX on Ahmed's side.
So we see Kukui just opting to draw cards, doesn't need the extra damage.
That was not a
And
good turn.
No, just a simple knockout. Did he attach extra energy?
No.
Huh. So over on the mid side, if he can grab a knockout here, that would be a pretty big deal for him.
Yeah, all he needs is Lycanroc GX and strong energy. He can even Claw Slash for the knockout, preserving his Dangerous Rogue GX attack for a later time.
Here we see Tapu Lele going to search his deck for a supporter card.
Yeah, my guess is Teammates.
Yeah, just suffered a knockout. There it is. Pushed right up to the front. Teammates is an awesome little comeback from a tough turn card. As long as you suffered a knockout from damage in the last turn, you just search, grab two Pokemon, or not two Pokemon, two of any card.
Yep.
So I can only imagine we can see like Evolution plus Energy. Just whatever it is that he needs.
You skipped a step here.
Did he actually play the Teammates? He needs to discard that. He can't.
Yeah.
There we go. That makes a bit more sense. Tapu Lele does not search the deck for a Pokemon and an Energy. There.
Yeah. A little sloppy there, but
a little sloppy, but it worked in the end at the very least. Nothing that can't be reversed. And there we do see, like you said, should be able to just get this knockout with Claw Slash, holding on to Dangerous Rogue, and if he can survive for another turn, this is actually pretty scary.
Yeah, Israel's not in a great spot. He's also used, I think, at least 2 Aqua Patch this game, if not 3 in the discard pile already, and plenty of Max Elixir. So he's kind of starved for energy at this point. All of his Pokemon take a bunch to, a big Sycamore.
Yeah,
This is not looking good.
Israel had a really ugly turn. Has to follow it up here, just throwing the resources that he can.
Hey, he found the energy.
Yeah, here come the energy. That's where they've been hiding. Another elixir. Since he has so many energy in hand, though, will there be one in deck? Yes, toward the end. So he's got one attachment on Lapras. Has at least another one in hand. Does he have some kind of energy switch, additional patch? He might not.
I wonder if he'll go for the Chilling Sigh on Articuno this turn. No, looks like he's just going to settle for Collect.
Drawing 3 cards. And back over to Ahmed's side, dropping Skyfield. Before we were talking about how much he might have wished he could bench additional Pokemon beyond the 5. That's his way to do it. Choice Band down on Lycanroc.
Yeah, that's going to make a Dangerous Rogue GX do enough damage for a knockout. It'll do exactly 190, well, actually 200
with the strong energy.
And the Choice Band.
Wow. And so just like that, we're seeing Lycanroc is nothing to laugh at. For just 2 energy, double colorless and a strong, he's been able to use both of Lycanroc's attacks to a really good effect. Ahmed making one of the best comebacks I've seen in a while. Game 2 and now Game 3, taking a commanding position.
Yeah, the Midnight form of Lycanroc really coming in handy here. One of the new cards from the Guardians Rising expansion coming into play. And we will probably see Dangerous Rogue GX, and Israel will be in a pretty bad position.
Yeah, I wonder, does Israel even run away where he can knock out a 200 hit point Lycanroc?
Yeah, he played Professor Kukui earlier, so he could do that. The problem is, on the next turn, Ahmed just has, another Lycanroc GX, easy knockout. Oh, he can actually knock out the big
right
Lapras.
Now. Why not? Your opponent's played so many Elixir, every turn you're like, okay, they probably can't get another Lapras, right? Couldn't last turn, and now Israel's going to be essentially one step backwards, going to only have a Lapras with 1 energy instead of 2. Yeah. Bloodthirsty Eyes is a huge ability.
Yeah. This is a little greedy, I think. You're going to knock out the Lapras with the 2 energy and the Choice Band, which is great. But I think if you hold on and wait one more turn, you could knock out the active Lapras GX, go down to 2 prize cards, and then next turn just Bloodthirsty Eyes, bring out Manaphy GX, and get the last knockout with Claw Slash. Now, it's still a great position for Ahmed, but he did use up that Bloodthirsty Eyes, and he's going to have to fight through the active Pokemon, unless he finds Lysander.
That's true. I would only be comfortable with that play if I knew I had access to Lysander as well to follow up. Because now that he has used his GX attack, he can't easily knock out an active Lapras. But here we just see an attachment to Articuno. We might see a really sad Chilling Sigh. That said, we do see an N. This is the ultimate comeback card. Players have known it long and well in the Pokemon trading card game. When you shuffle and draw as many prize cards as you have remaining, at the end of a game, like Ahmed only drawing 2 cards here, it can put you in a weird spot.
Yeah, I'm struggling to see a way for Israel to come back in this game. He just doesn't have enough energy. in play at this point. And Ahmed has too much energy in play. He has the active Lycanroc GX fully powered. He has one on the bench with the double colorless energy. Claw Slash can be easily activated on the other one. And Israel just doesn't have any easy knockouts. But yeah, chilling Psy, here we go.
So flip for sleep. Lycanroc is back awake. Does he have access to a Lysander? He did get End down to 2. That said, still applying a ton of pressure. Maybe grabbing a prize here. But somewhat weird position.
It's going to check. Oh, there it is.
It's in the discard pile. Is there a Versus Seeker to follow up? Wow! Ahmed makes the comeback, grabbing 2 straight games after what looked like a devastating first game loss and a second game where he wasn't in a great position for a long time.
Yeah, Lycanroc GX is much more powerful than it would seem. Israel's got to be disappointed after really dominating the first game and then looking like he was in a good spot in games 2 and 3 and just kind of fell apart as it went on. Lycanroc GX picking up knockouts, getting sneaky knockouts with Claw Slash, and then getting